CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. According to Middlesex OPP, a 75-year-old of St. Thomas and a 28-year-old of Georgian Bluffs have died following a collision north of London. Police say they received reports of a head-on collision involving two vehicles near Highbury Avenue North between 13 and 14 Mile roads. The drivers and occupants of both vehicles were transported to hospital where they were pronounced dead. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Police in the Windsor region have confirmed the identity of a woman stabbed to death, attracting international media attention. According to police, Nancy Grual was a social media content creator and a vocal critic of the Khalistan movement that seeks an independent Sikh homeland in the Punjabi region of India. Her death has sparked widespread speculation online about a possible motive. The LaSalle police chief addressed those claims today, saying investigators are considering all information.
We receive a number of inquiries from media asking about different narratives they've heard and different motives. And so we wanted to share that, especially with the citizens of LaSalle, that this is not a random act of violence. We believe Ms. Grewal was the subject of an intentional act of violence.
A milestone moment in Windsor today, the ceremonial grand opening of the Nexstar energy plant. The multi-billion-dollar battery-making project has been 4 years in the making. With more on its unveiling today, here's Michelle Molesky.
1, 2, 3.
Nexstar Energy is officially open for business. 1,300 people work here.
We found a workforce shaped by generation of manufacturing excellence, a community that understands the pride of building something real.
Company officials won't say how long it will be or what it will take to get to the 2,500 jobs promised by Nexstar and the government.
We commend LG Energy and Nexstar for their versatility in pivoting to maintain production in a changing marketplace and for your ongoing commitment to Canadian workers.
Nexstar was initially supposed to be about building electric vehicle batteries. LG officials admit the interest in EVs just isn't there yet. And then the company faced uncertainty when Stellantis sold their stake in the company, according to Korean politicians.
At that important moment, LG Energy Solution made a clear choice. LG chose to stay in Ontario, Canada. LG chose to protect jobs. LG chose to honor its commitment. That decision deserves the recognition.
The factory carries with it substantial subsidies from the upper levels of government. And although neither on hand could say how much Nexstar has received to date, they say the investment was a wise move.
There's a difference between politicians that look year by year on their budgets and politicians that look 50 years down the road and 100 years down the road. And with this project, we're looking 50 to 100 years down the road.
Industry Minister Melanie Joly says when the deal was inked for Nexstar, Canada was competing against the American Inflation Reduction Act to land investment. Joly says the Americans have now turned their back on that act.
It's up to them to take their own decisions. We thought that we needed to double down on these investments. We thought it was important to continue notwithstanding because the U.S. could take other decisions eventually. But we were on the right path, and we're convinced we're still on the right path.
There was a 50-50 partnership between the federal and provincial government for a portion of the $5+ billion building here. So, we would have been a percentage of that shared equally.
Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
A London city councillor wants to ban publicly funded local agencies from handing out drug pipes. As Brian Bicknell reports, it's reigniting debate over harm reduction and public safety.
Every 5 minutes, people are picking up pipes, stepping on them, they're broken, they're cleaning them up, they're seeing people smoking them.
Ward 4 Councillor Susan Stevenson has filed a motion to Council's Community and Protective Services Committee asking that publicly funded agencies be prohibited from handing out drug pipes and other substance inhalation supplies in downtown, Midtown, and Old East Village.
In the core area where public drug use is being targeted for enforcement and trying to limit that, why would we be handing it out in the very spaces that we're saying we don't want to see it?
But the very idea is garnering no shortage of attention. Councillor Sam Trosso, who sits on CAPS, says he's upset by his colleagues' approach.
We have to be careful that we don't just take a knee-jerk reaction to things because they don't look right. I want a much more evidence-based approach.
The owner of this Old East coffee shop says yes, discarded drug pipes are indeed a problem. But the former healthcare professional also says she understands the need.
Until we fix a lot of the larger systemic problems, harm reduction does work in reducing people getting sick.
According to London Cares, pipes and other inhalation equipment are handed out on weekends and evenings by its outreach workers in the community as part of a harm reduction supply package. The program is administered by the health unit and funded mostly by the province. The medical officer of health says there's a difference between promoting drugs and enabling the safe use of drugs.
Real risk at times of transmission of those bloodborne diseases through the use of shared pipes or inhalation devices because of cracked libs and potential blood exposure in that way. That is one of the reasons why safe inhalation supplies from a medical perspective have been part of the suite of options.
Councillors will consider Stevenson's motion on Monday. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
A London city councillor is calling for controls on pest populations in an East London neighbourhood. As Sean Irvin reports, that's in response to resident complaints over rat infestations.
Robert Shields looks out at Egerton Street just a few steps from his home. Squashed in the middle of the road is a familiar sight, a dead rat. It's just one of what he believes could be thousands near his residence and in it.
I've woken up to one being on my body. They're not scared.
The situation, Shields says, is affecting the neighborhood.
We can't live. We can't keep food. They're chewing through our walls.
For the most part, Shields says the rat problem is not created by his neighbors, who are embarrassed by it.
It's not a dirty issue. It's a city issue.
Enter local councillor Hadley McAllister. He confirms rats are a concern citywide, but particularly in some areas of his ward where reports of rat sightings are piling up. Late last year, he called for city staff to take steps to control rodents around dumpsters. Now McAllister wants a broader response. He wants city staff to consider looking at the impact of rats on all types of housing and some commercial properties.
I really would like there to be a way to track, especially with rats, what areas are experiencing it and have a quicker response because of the serious health implications of having those.
The plan is not without precedent.
Toronto introduced a new rat control program last fall. Primarily designed to control pests, the program expanded to include rapid response.
At its inception, Toronto's rat control plan called for an educational component and a phone number to call to report rat sightings. The latter is a must-do, according to McAllister.
Because right now, essentially it just goes in kind of as a general, property standards request.
Shields welcomes any changes, but contends he never had a rat problem around his home before the city went to bi-weekly garbage collection.
Somebody at the city hall thinks it was a good idea to do garbage day every 2 weeks and think that there wouldn't be a rodent problem.
Shields says he spends $1,500 a year now on professional rat traps. He even poured a concrete curb around a portion of his residence last summer, but the rats simply found another way in.
They've chewed right through the cinder blocks.
Shields wants the city to take steps to rid the area of rats immediately.
We got a problem. We got a problem now.
But McAllister is asking for a bit of time as the rats keep coming.
And so if there are more resources required, I still think that's a conversation as council we need to have.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Officials with the London Housing Co-op say several rent-geared-to-income apartments are sitting empty because of a financial crisis made worse by a dangerous drug-dealing market. Daryl Newcomb has more on the issues and a look inside these units. And a warning, some of the images in this story are graphic.
A total of 15 rent-geared-to-income units have been destroyed and are left vacant inside the Toll Puddle Housing Cooperative at King and Adelaide because there isn't enough funding to fix them. And threats from drug dealers written on the walls have the president of the co-op's board asking not to be identified on camera.
I'm targeted. Very often when I remove people from the building, I'm threatened. I've actually been physically harmed.
I've been working security for 15 years, so here's I feel like this is one of the worst site.
Head of security Dennis Nixon providing an unfiltered tour of the 134-unit building where drugs, violence, and insufficient funding has put good tenants at risk. They include low-income Londoners, young families, the elderly, and the disabled.
We're going to need between $1 and $2 million. This property has been neglected by the City of London for at least a decade.
As a cooperative, the building's operations and ownership is separate from City Hall. However, it does receive tenants through the city's prioritization list. The co-op president says new tenants placed from that list who are not yet stabilized for housing are the source of the building's problems.
They need to be made well before they can live independently. We are not the first step. We are a piece of the puzzle, but we're definitely not the first step. We don't have the resources and skills.
How many buildings are at risk? How many units are empty?
Councillor Susan Stevenson expressed her concern to city staff during this week's council meeting and intends to bring forward a motion to an upcoming committee meeting.
The issue needs to be brought before council for discussion and with the public around the funding that we have. The fastest and cheapest way to get units available for people to move into is to fix the ones we have.
Council has dropped the ball on this. They need to contact us. We're willing to sit down and talk to them.
The Co-op Housing Board's president invites council members and senior city staff to take a similar tour of the building. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Local pharmacies are now dispensing medications for animals in addition to humans. It could mean more options for pet owners and potentially lower costs. However, as Rita Ismail reports, vets say those changes come with risks.
Pet owners now have more options to fill their animals' prescriptions, including the local pharmacy. For years, both veterinarians and pharmacists in Canada have been legally allowed to dispense medication for animals. But many pet medications were only available directly through veterinary clinics until now.
We can order from the same supplier as the vets now. It used to be exclusive to only vets, so now we are able to dispense the same medications.
Marina Barsham, pharmacist and owner of Forest City Pharmacy, began filling pet prescriptions this past January. She says the drugs are handled the same way as those for humans, and prices are often lower because dispensing fees are standardized and drug markups are lowered.
We dispense the prescription exactly as written. We are not allowed to substitute anything. It's exactly as what the vet orders. And we want to work together with the vets to make it easier for the client to afford medication.
But some veterinarians say the change raises concerns.
Pharmacist trained with human medicine doesn't have the comparative animal training that a veterinarian would. And certainly animals metabolize medications different. There are very specific species differences that, again, a dispensing pharmacist without the veterinary training wouldn't have that knowledge to be able to address any concerns.
Hancock also says medication sales make up a large portion of revenue for many veterinary clinics. Without that income, she says some clinics may have to increase the cost of appointments.
This is not about a business competition issue. It's about a patient safety issue. And unfortunately, myself and every veterinary colleague I have unfortunately seen adverse reactions from improper substitutions, the wrong advice.
New regulations now require veterinarians to inform pet owners that they have the right to request a written prescription and fill it elsewhere, including at a pharmacy.
If a pharmacist does not feel comfortable filling a prescription, we always refer back to the vet. Our priority is the safety and care of the animals.
Training programs are being developed to help pharmacists expand their knowledge of veterinary medications. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Coming up, one local athlete is hoping to bring home some hardware just a few days out from his 4th Paralympic Winter Games. Canada's main stock index was down today as the price of oil rose. In Toronto, the TSX is down 333 points, and in New York, the Dow lost 785, while the Nasdaq dropped 59. The Canadian dollar fell a 0.07 of a cent, and on commodity markets, gold lost $56 an ounce, and oil gained $6.35 a barrel. After saying the attack on Iran was not about regime change, Donald Trump had some new messaging saying he must help pick the country's next leader. CTV's Joy Melvin has more.
In new defense video, U.S. airstrikes target and attack missile launchers inside Iran, hunting a vast military arsenal of drones and missiles and destroying their ability to attack. The president argues he had to hit now, or Iran would have developed a nuclear weapon.
When crazy people have nuclear weapons, bad things happen.
Though the president says his goal was not about regime change, he shockingly declared he must be personally involved in selecting Iran's next leader. And he's not keen on the assassinated leader's son. Khamenei's son is a lightweight, Trump said. I have to be involved in the appointment. We want someone that will bring harmony and peace to Iran. Trump wants a smooth transition, much like the swift capture of Venezuela's dictator Nicolas Maduro. But the Iran war is facing political backlash. Polls show a majority of voters disapprove of Trump's war.
The administration made mistakes in not preparing the American public for this. Not that they had to discuss anything about operational details, but I think requires months of explanation to justify this kind of activity.
And it's not just conflicting explanations. Democrats on Capitol Hill tried again to restrict the president's military actions in Iran, but it's unlikely to pass.
You send American men and women into war with a high likelihood of them dying based on Donald Trump's feeling? That's insanity.
And with no fixed end date in sight, so far this war has cost the U.S. an estimated $3.7 billion and claimed numerous lives. And this is just day 6. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
Good evening. We've had some heavy rainfall and a significant melt in parts of southern Ontario. Also some patchy freezing drizzle possible tonight in parts of Midwestern Ontario as the temperatures drop close to the freezing mark. So if you're heading northeast of London, areas towards Kitchener-Waterloo, Guelph area, especially towards Mount Forest tonight, we could see some very light freezing drizzle into tomorrow morning. Watch for a bit of fog as well. Temperatures hovering just above freezing in London overnight and holding 1 to 2 degrees first thing in the morning with a chance of light drizzle. Thanks, Chris, so much for this photo of Rocket. Lots of snow in this photo. A lot of that's been melting away over the past few days. We have rounds of rainfall in the extended forecast. Potential for some dense fog. Stay with us. I'll put it all together for you in just a few minutes.
Julie joins me now with your full weather forecast. Julie?
Thanks so much, Lauren. We've had some pockets of heavy rain through the late evening. Watch for some fog developing overnight and first thing in the morning. If you are traveling, please be aware this time of year, with the surface being extremely cold, we generally have these inversions set up that traps that low-level moisture at the surface. I'm expecting that to happen tonight. So drizzle will continue and fog as we head into tomorrow morning. 4 degrees are high, 2 degrees are low. Areas off to the east-northeast seeing temperatures near the freezing mark tonight, and that's leading to a light freezing drizzle. So icy road conditions expected as we head into tomorrow morning. So this includes Waterloo, Wellington, in and around the Guelph area, Mount Forest, and east towards Toronto. West and southwest of that, temperatures will remain above freezing overnight, anywhere from 1 to 4 degrees. So we do have some milder temperatures towards the southwest. We have an area of low pressure and a front south of us with a low pressure system riding along that boundary. That's what brought the heavy rainfall today. This system will continue to impact us as we head into the overnight and tomorrow, leaving us overcast with the risk of light drizzle. Then our next front comes in with a chance for rain heading into Friday night and the possibility of some thunderstorms. Friday night, 10 to 15 millimeters of rain possible. So we're talking rounds of showers as we head into the weekend. You can see the intensity of this system as it comes in Friday night. So again, the risk of thunderstorms moving through early Saturday morning. Then a cold front set to come in Saturday. So that will bring another chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. The front itself will cross Saturday late afternoon, evening, but it'll be out ahead of that where we'll see the chance for rainfall. So overcast conditions and rain on Saturday as well. It'll be quite mild though right across the region as we push through the weekend. So temperatures feeling quite spring-like. And again, this is the weekend where we spring forward, so make sure you turn those clocks ahead before you head to bed Saturday night. 8 degrees, your forecast as we head into your Friday. That should say Friday up there. 15 degrees on Saturday with a 70% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms. It'll be a very high probability Friday evening, early in the day, just a 30% chance. So note that difference. So Friday night rain with the risk of thunderstorms and into your Saturday. Mix of sun and cloud on Sunday, gusty winds, the high 10, 15 degrees on Monday. Lots of sunshine, a mix of sun and cloud on Tuesday with some night rain and then rain in the forecast Wednesday. Models indicating another cool down coming our way Thursday, which could lead to some mixed precipitation. Midwestern Ontario, there are areas that will see some very light freezing drizzle overnight and into tomorrow morning. Be aware of that as you head out on the roads first thing as well. Bit of fog expected. 12 degrees as we head into your Saturday. Showers and thunderstorms. So it'll be a Friday night, Saturday system coming in. The warm air arrives with scattered showers and thunderstorms, and then the cold front will cross on Saturday. That will keep us quite unsettled, but nice and mild. 10 degrees on Sunday. Sunday will be the best day over the weekend. Lots of sunshine Monday all the way up to 14, and we'll hold on to the spring-like conditions until Wednesday when our next round of showers comes in. So have a wonderful weekend. I'm off tomorrow. I'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Julie. Maple syrup producers say this season is off to an inconsistent start. They blame recent cold temperatures for holding back the sap. Scott Miller has more on the conditions they're counting on to get their taps flowing.
So this is our filter press.
Kevin Snyder is still waiting for that 24 to 48 hours of perfect weather to really kick off maple syrup season.
It's just been a little too cold.
Snyder's looking for a few degrees above freezing during the day and a few degrees below freezing overnight to get that freeze-thaw cycle going. That really gets the maple sap running.
We're hoping for a freeze, but then when it's going to freeze up here coming up, it looks like it's going to stay cold for a bunch. So obviously when it's froze, the sap doesn't run. So I'm not sure what the weather's going to give us yet.
This syrup season marks 50 years of making maple syrup for the Robinson and Snyder families. The family operation usually fills 230 barrels or 7,000 gallons with Canadian Gold each season. 460,000 feet of tubing carries the sap from 23,300 taps across 360 acres to Robinson's sugar camp each and every spring.
It takes about 40 years for a tree to be able to get tapped, and it'll go 60, 70 years until it's time to get rid of it because it's too big.
While the majority of the syrup made here at Robinson's ends up being enjoyed by Ontarians, some of it actually heads overseas.
We do have a contract in Japan. We send them about 1,200 cases twice a year, which is a full container load twice a year. So we have an exclusive deal with them, but most of it just stays in Ontario.
Whether it turns out to be a bumper crop or simply an okay year depends on the next few weeks of weather. Snyder has his fingers crossed. Things don't get too warm or too cold, so that sweet sap picks up steam.
That's the hope. I mean, you don't know until it's done. You just won't get any sap anymore, and that'll be the end of it. It's just like that. It's done.
In Huron County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Tonight's Slopes Report is brought to you by Buller Mountain. If you thought the ski season was over after the recent spell of mild temperatures, think again. The ski hills are still hanging on. At Buller Mountain, there's no new snow, but conditions are machine groomed with a solid 80-centimeter base. All 15 runs are open and all systems go. The snow at home may have melted, but Buller still has plenty on the hill. Blue Mountain is also reporting 0 new snow with machine groomed granular conditions and 42 runs available to ski and board. Horseshoe has machine groomed granular conditions as well, with 24 of 27 runs open. For cross-country skiing, Pinery Provincial Park is reporting poor conditions, while Circle R Ranch is closed. Last week's warm-up took a big toll on the base after a few beautiful days of spring skiing. If you're hoping to squeeze in a few more turns before the season ends, the Alpine Hills are still ready for you. Have a great weekend.
The Paralympic Games gets underway this weekend in Italy, including wheelchair curling on Saturday. Canada's team is skipped by a local athlete competing in his 4th Paralympics, and he has a history of bringing home some hardware. Local Londoner Mark Idison is preparing to compete in Italy for his 4th Paralympic Winter Games.
While I was in the hospital, made a promise to myself that I wouldn't play any sport that I had played able-bodied.
Idison was involved in a helicopter crash in 2007, which left him with a spinal cord injury.
Luckily, I broke that promise and gave curling a try, wheelchair curling, because I had actually played curling able-bodied. And I wasn't very good at it. I'm certainly way better sitting down than I was standing up.
Idison won Paralympic gold in 2014 and bronze medals in 2018 and 2022. But what he's most proud of is something much bigger.
The sport itself is important for physical and mental health, but also finding community is really important.
The team doctor, Stephen Macaluso, says Paralympic athletes have to overcome a unique set of barriers.
It's a lot of practice, dedication, commitment, sacrifice. I think the families of the athletes know that more than probably anyone else.
Macaluso says it takes a group of dedicated individuals to ensure Canada's Paralympic athletes are ready to compete.
It's obviously a process of rehabilitation, a lot of hard work on behalf, certainly of the person themselves in the recovery process, but it takes a team.
As Idison prepares for his first 2026 Paralympic game on March 7th, he's turning to tradition for a little extra luck.
I hide a loonie in the ice, around the ice surface. It's been a tradition since I started in 2014.
That's our time tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Lauren Stallone. Have a good night.